Good morning, boys and girls. Another snow day. I was surprised when I woke up this morning. Were you? Today we're going to be reading a story called Experiment with What a Plant Needs to Grow. Let me turn on my closed caption here. Hold on. Okay. All right. So today we're going to be reading an expository or informational text. This falls under the nonfiction umbrella. And a lot of times expository or informational texts have photos with labels. So it's important to pay attention to those because that helps you to understand the picture. You may see order of events and you may see a cause and effect. So let's listen to a little piece about our author today. Her name is Nadia Higgins.
Do you like books about science? If you do, then Nadia Higgins is writing for readers like you. Nadia Higgins has written over 60 books for kids. Her favorite part of writing is learning new and exciting information. She likes to include fun and unusual facts in her books. Miss Higgins has written about cute but deadly animals and foods that came about by accident.
So if you like to read science books, she might be a good author to look for at the library. All right, today we're going to be talking about evaluating in a text, not the test evaluate, but evaluating in a text. Okay, we will answer a couple of questions from past evaluate tests, but that's not what we're talking about today or focusing on. Okay, so first let's look at those evaluate questions from the test in January. This first one, after you've read the article about Lady Liberty, you saw this question. It says, the author states that Americans are proud of Lady Liberty. Drag the two phrases that best support the idea onto the book below. So we have to figure out of those 5 choices on the side, which ones we're going to drag over. And I've already dragged them over for you, but we're going to go through them and think about why those 2 are the right ones, or the right choices. So gift to America. Does that show us that we're proud of Lady Liberty? No, that just tells us it was a gift to us. Okay, thousands of visitors. Does that show? Yes, thousands of visitors would come. That shows us that we're proud of Lady Liberty. Visitors wouldn't come if we weren't proud. Honor the friendship. That wouldn't show us we're proud of it. Cheers lasted for 15 minutes. Yes, that detail shows us that we're proud of Lady Liberty because people cheered for 15 minutes and then brought her to New York. That choice doesn't show us that we're proud. Okay. Also, you saw a question like this. So when you got to this question on evaluate, there were just those blue squares were empty. And so you had to drag the correct answer choice next to the question that answered it on the chart. Okay. So look down at the bottom. So you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 choices. Okay. So the first question says, when was the Statue of Liberty given to America? So if I didn't remember that answer, I would have to go back to the article on evaluate to find the correct year. So at the bottom, there's 2 different years, 1886 and 1876. And so after I went back and reread the article, or I didn't reread the whole article, I just went back and looked for the date, the correct date. I found that the correct date was 1886. Okay, so I dragged it up there. The second question said, who came up with the idea for the Statue of Liberty? So I see 2 people's names, Joseph Pulitzer and then Frederick Bartholdi. So I know that Frederick was the one who came up with the idea because I went back and I looked for his name. I looked for those 2 names to see who was the correct person. So I dragged him up. And then where is the Statue of Liberty located? So that makes me think, I've got to find a place. So their choices were for a place were France and Liberty Island. So from the article, I knew that Lady Liberty or the Statue of Liberty was located on Liberty Island. It was not located in France. It was built there. All right, so let's go to the next question, or the next slide. Today we will evaluate a section of the text. So this is a different kind of evaluate by thinking of what is important, because this will help us know what we read. Okay, so how will I be successful? Well, this is how you're going to be successful today. You're going to read this section of the text, and while you're reading, you're going to ask yourself, is this an important detail or not? And if it is, you're going to underline the important details and then at the end, you're going to use those underlined words to form your answer. Okay, so evaluate. Look at the poster to the right. Okay, this says, what is most important? 1, think about the author's words as you read, and then evaluate or decide what is most important. Authors of informational texts include many details about a topic. Some details are more important than others. So in order to find the main idea or the most important detail or key idea, you must identify the most important detail about the topic. We do this through evaluating, or you could call it deciding, which details are most important. So we have to evaluate or decide which details are most important. So before we start reading, let's look at the title picture of this front cover and then think about what we already know about plants to make a prediction about what we think this text is going to be about. So this says, experiment with what a plant needs to grow. So I see the title is an experiment with what a plant needs to grow. So I will be listening for important details about this topic. Okay, so let's read this section. Plants are living. They grow. They reproduce. Like you, plants need air and water. They need minerals to stay healthy. They also need food. For a plant, food starts with sunlight. Sunlight fuels photosynthesis. This is a process in which green leaves make food using air and water. So what important idea did you learn from What Are Plants? So I'm going to go up to the top, and I found out that plants are living things. And then the author gives us tons of details to show how they are living things. So what's the most important idea that I learned from this? What are plants? So I'm trying to write with my finger, so it might be a little bit big. The important idea is plants are living things. Now, I know mine's a little bit big. When you do your exit slip today, you'll be able to either type it in or write it in. I just don't have Pear Deck on this. So mine's a little bit bigger than what yours would be. So I'm going to erase all that. Okay. Now let's go to the next question. Okay. Now the title of this section is, Can Seeds Get Too Much Water? Water helps a plant stay strong and sturdy, but even before a plant shoots out of the ground, the seed needs water to sprout. Can seeds get too much water? Let's find out. And then this says, plants die if they don't get enough water. And then look down at the bottom. Those are all the things that we'll need for our experiment. 3 small bowls, water, 6 cotton balls, a handful of grass seeds, pencils, and paper. Okay. So step 1, start by putting 2 cotton balls in each of the bowls. 2, next, fill the first bowl so that the cotton balls are covered with water. Moisten the second bowl's cotton balls all the way through. Don't add any water to the third bowl. Sprinkle about a dozen seeds on the top of the cotton balls in each bowl. So then you have to label the bowls so you remember which one is which. The fourth step, put the cotton balls in a sunny place. 5, check the bowls every day. Make sure the first 2 cotton balls stay covered with water. Make sure the second 2 stay moist. After a few days, some seeds will sprout. So is the caption on page 128 where you see where the purple box is an important detail to remember about what plants need to grow? So the caption at the bottom says, label the bowls so you remember which is which. Is that important? I think it is because it'll help you to know which one's which. You don't know if your experiment works if you can't remember which bowl is which. Okay, think it through. A seed has a coat that protects it. Water softens the coat, so the seed can sprout. But seeds also need air. Too much water can keep a seed from getting enough air. Now try this. Plants need minerals to be healthy. Most plants get minerals from the soil. Predict how long your grass can survive without soil. Watch the grass sprout to see if you were right. Be sure to write down your prediction before you start experimenting. Okay. So now we're going to do this part. And the question says, what important idea can you learn from can seeds get too much water? Okay, so let's go back through and we'll read and then we'll go back and underline some important details. Water helps plants stay strong and sturdy, but even before a plant shoots out of the ground, the seed needs water to sprout. So that's not important because our question is, can seeds get too much water? That's what we're trying to figure out. So can seeds get too much water? Let's find out. 1, start by putting 2 cotton balls in each of the bowls. Next, fill the first bowl so that the cotton balls are covered with water. Moisten the second bowl's cotton balls all the way through. Don't add any water to get water to the third bowl. Sprinkle about a dozen seeds on top of the cotton balls in each bowl. Put the cotton balls in a sunny place. Check the bowls every day. Make sure the first 2 cotton balls are covered with water. Make sure the second 2 stay moist. So that's just the steps. So that's not really what we learned from can seeds get too much water. Okay, so after a few days, some seeds will sprout. A seed has a coat that protects it. Water softens the coat, so the seed can sprout. But seeds also need air. Too much water can keep the seeds from getting enough air. Ooh, so that's a detail that's going to help me know. So let's write it. So we're going to underline the part that says, too much water keep a seed from getting enough air. So then we can write that at the top. Too much water can keep a seed from getting too much air. So that answers our question. All right, so can seeds get too much water? Yes, they can. Okay, so now it says, oh, let me erase all that. This when you do your Pear Deck, you'll still be okay. You won't have to do all this work to get all this writing down. Okay, got most of it taken away. How do leaves get air? We saw that seeds need air to sprout. Roots need air too. Air is also part of photosynthesis. As they make food, green leaves take air in and let it out. Let's find out how. Here's what you need. Petroleum jelly, you might call it Vaseline, masking tape, leafy green plant, and a camera. You can easily poke your finger into good garden soil. The loose soil holds lots of tiny spaces. Those air-filled spaces keep roots healthy. Step 1. Spread a heavy coat of petroleum jelly or Vaseline over the top of the leaves of your plant. Do the same on the undersides of 5 other leaves. 3. Put your plant in a sunny window, then take a picture. 4. Observe your plant every day for the next week. Mark the tape on the coated leaves with tape. So mark the tops of the coated leaves with tape so that you can easily find them again. Compare what you see to the photo you took on the first day. Here are the leaves different from your photo. I'm sorry. How are the leaves different from your photo? So look at the first photo. I'm sorry, I couldn't read it. It was a little small. Okay, see how the leaves are green? And then you look at your photo from a few days later, and they're kind of yellowish. So think it through. Petroleum jelly kept some of the leaves from letting air in and out. These leaves started to wilt. The leaves that were coated on the bottom wilted the most. Okay, so now measure like a scientist. Measuring helps scientists show exactly what is happening. Let's look at some ways you could use measuring in the plant experiment. So weight. Then we'll go across. Weigh 2 seeds. Is one heavier? What tool would you need? You'd need a scale. And then the unit of measurement would be ounces. You wouldn't use a ruler for that. You would use a scale. Length. You're going to measure a bean seedling in the morning. Then measure it in the next day. Did it grow taller? So you would need a ruler for that, and you would measure in either inches or centimeters. Okay, measurement time. Track how many days it takes for a plant to bloom. You will need a tool, and your unit would be days. Volume. Measure how much water you're adding to a pot. So you would need a tool the tool would be a measuring cup, and the unit would be a cup or millimeters. That's how you would measure that. Okay, so now it's your turn. Okay, look at the side. It says, how do leaves get air? I'm going to read that part to it, and you listen as I read it to you. We just saw that seeds need air to sprout. Roots need air too. Air is also part of photosynthesis. As they make food, green leaves take air in and let it out. Let's find out how. Step 1. Spread a heavy coat of petroleum jelly over the tops of 5 leaves of your plant. 2. Do the same on the undersides of 5 other leaves. 3. Put your plant in a sunny window. Then take a picture. 4. Observe your plant every day for the next week. Now think it through. Petroleum jelly kept some of the leaves from letting air in and out. Those leaves started to wilt. The leaves that were coated on the bottom wilted the most. So you're going to have to read this section of the text, ask yourself, what is the most important detail? Underline the most important details. Okay, this question says, what important idea did you learn from how do leaves get air? The 3 choices are leaves get air from the top of the leaf, or leaves get air from the stem, or leaves get air from the bottom of the leaf. And you're going to circle on your pear deck when you go to the next slide the best choice. Okay? All right. So while you're reading it and after you're done, think to yourself, why should you stop after each section of the test to ask, what is the most important idea? Okay. And then think about when you could evaluate information. Maybe at recess, maybe at a movie, maybe during a conversation. Those are things you can just use your head for that. You don't have to answer those questions. The only question you need to answer today is the one on your pear deck on the next slide. Okay? I hope you guys have a great day and stay warm. And hopefully we'll be back at school tomorrow because we miss you so much.